Welcome, everyone. Well, I'm in the lower temple at Ananda, and one of my dear friends and choir mates just walked in, so I asked her to come sing with me. So we're going to sing this beautiful song of Swamiji, I Live Without Fear. This is Veronica. Come closer. Though green summer fade and winter draw near, my Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide.
Beautiful. We'll chant today, rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His love, and in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. We'll take this chant into our meditation, calling on the beloved as God, Christ, or Guru. Yogananda ji said, practice meditation and chanting, and you find that you are carrying within your heart a portable paradise. We always have that portable paradise of peace and love available to us. Through chanting and meditation, it grows stronger and stronger, and our capacity to tune into it deeper and deeper. Very simple. God, Christ, Guru, come to me in meditation. God, Christ, Guru. God, Christ, Guru. God, Christ, Guru. God, Christ, Guru. calling on the beloved with deep concentration at the spiritual eye and beautiful receivership in your beautiful, grateful heart. We'll meditate together for 5 minutes. Remaining in an inward state, listen to this week's affirmation for self-healing. Willpower. Willpower, and not the vague abstraction luck, is the secret of true achievement. Willpower on subtle energy levels
generates what only looks like luck, but magnetically attracting to us opportunities. Our will is strengthened by removing from our minds the no-saying tendency, the obstructions of doubt, of laziness, and of fear. Yes, even of the fear of success. Willpower is developed by persevering to the conclusion of whatever one attempts. One should start first with little undertakings, then proceed to bigger ones. Infinite willpower comes from harnessing the little human will to God's infinite, all-powerful consciousness. Now affirming in a loud voice to command the attention of the conscious mind. My will is to do that which is right to do.
My will is to do that which is right to do.
Part all you mountains that stand in my way.
Part all you mountains that stand in my way.
Nothing can stop my progress.
Nothing can stop my progress.
And now in a more conversational tone. My will is to do that which is right to do.
Will is to do that which is right to do.
Part all you mountains that stand in my way.
Part all you mountains that stand in my way.
Nothing can stop my progress.
Nothing can stop my progress.
And now in a whisper, taking it into the subconscious. My will is to do that which is right to do.
My will is to do that which is right to do.
Part all you mountains that stand in my way.
Part all you mountains that stand in my way.
Nothing can stop my progress.
Nothing can stop my progress.
And now in silence, taking it deeper into the subconscious. My will is to do that which is right to do. Part all you mountains that stand in my way. Nothing can stop my progress. And with rising aspiration, bring your attention to the point between the eyebrows. Taking the affirmation into the superconscious mind. In deep silence. My will is to do that which is right to do. Part all you mountains that stand in my way. Nothing can stop my progress. Prayer. O infinite power, I will use my will, but guide thou my will in everything I do, that it reflect thy will.
And now we'll have our reading from Rays of the One Light.
This is a reading from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Week 11, Reason versus Intuition. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. Jesus, when addressing his critics, appealed to reason and common sense. In his training of the disciples, however, he, like all great masters, encouraged in them the development of a higher faculty, soul intuition. For it is only by intuition that spiritual perceptions are achieved. In chapter 16 of the Gospel of St. Matthew, we find Jesus drawing on the intuition of his disciples by asking them who they thought he was in reality. They immediately understood that what he wanted from them was a subtle answer, not some obvious reply based on his nationality, sex, and the like. Peter it was at last who understood and answered the question on its intended level, the spiritual. Thou art the Christ, he said, the Son of the living God. And Jesus turned to him, saying, Blessed art thou, Simon, son of Jonah, for not by human nature was this truth revealed to thee, but by my heavenly Father. And I tell thee this also, thou art Peter, which is to say, a rock, and upon this rock will I build my church, and never will the powers of darkness overwhelm it. Jesus was pleased with his disciple for relating to the question on its deepest level. Reason could not have given Peter that answer. The answer came through the faculty of soul intuition and proved him thereby to be a spiritually advanced disciple. It was his intuitive perception, that insight which cannot be shaken by tempests of reasonable doubt, that Jesus praised in referring to him as a rock. The church he referred to next was the edifice of cosmic consciousness. Any outer church institution would have to depend, as in fact the Christian churches have always done, on the level of understanding of its individual leaders and members. Peter's intuitive perceptions could never have been passed on to an outward succession of prelates. Clarity comes by direct soul perception. Confusion results from excessive dependence on reason as the guide to understanding. As the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita states, when your intellect, at present confused by the diversity of teachings in the scriptures, becomes steadfast in the ecstasy of deep meditation, then you will achieve final union with God. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om. Om.
As we celebrate the month of Yoganandaji's Mahasamadhi, his conscious exit from the body, we know that he left his body speaking his prayer, my India, his beloved India. And at the last word, he left his body consciously and returned home to the divine. So I'd like to share with you that poem today, My India. Not where the musk of happiness blows, not in the land where darkness and fears never tread, not in the homes of perpetual smiles, not in heaven or the land of prosperity would I be born. If I have to put on a mortal garb again, 1,000 famines may prowl and tear my flesh, yet would I love to be again in my Hindusan. 1,000,000 thieves of disease may try to steal the fleeting health of flesh, or the clouds of faith may shower scalding drops of searing sorrow, yet would I there in India love to reappear. Is this, my love, a blind sentiment which beholds not the pathways of reason? Ah, no, I love India because there I first learned to love God and all things beautiful. Some teach to seize the fickle dewdrop life, sliding down the lotus leaf of time, some building stubborn hopes around the girded bridal body bubble. But India taught me to love, the soul of deathless beauty in the dewdrops or the bubble, not their fragile frames. Her sages taught me to find myself, buried beneath the ash heaps of incarnations and ignorance. Through many a land of power, plenty, and science, my soul, garbed as an Oriental or an Occidental, traveled far and wide, seeking itself, at last in India to find itself. If mortal fires raise all her homes in golden paddy fields, yet to sleep on her ashes and dream immortality, oh, India, I will be there. The guns of science and matter have boomed on her shores, yet she is unconquered. Her soul is free evermore. Her soldier saints each day rout with realization's ray the bandits of hate, prejudice, patriotic selfishness, and burn the walls of separation dark, which lie between children of the one Father. The Western brothers by matters might have conquered my land. Blow, blow aloud, her conch shall all. India now invades with love to conquer their souls. Better than heaven or Arcadia. I love thee, O my India, and my love I will give to every brother nation that lives. God made the earth, and man made his confining countries and their fancy frozen boundaries. But with the newfound love I behold the borderland of my India expanding into the world. Hail, mother of religions, lotus, scenic beauty, and sages. Thy wide doors are open, welcoming God's true sons through all the ages. With Ganges, woods, Himalayan caves, and men dream God, I am hallowed, my body touched that sod. Intuition. So there was once a spiritual seeker, this was maybe 75 years ago, and he really had great intuition. This intuitive knowledge, this ability to go deep within and find his truth within him. And he found through his intuition the autobiography of a yogi. And because he read that book and he was so inspired by that book, he resolved to join Yogananda's work and the Self-Realization Fellowship. So he set out to search for Yogananda. Yogananda was always teaching in different places and traveling. And as he was searching, he found out that Yogananda Ji had left his body. And he reasoned, if Yogananda is no longer here, he cannot be my teacher. I cannot be his disciple. But he continued his spiritual search, and he saw that Swami Ramdas was coming to Europe and giving a lot of lectures. So he joined in the group, and he followed Swami Ramdas and was listening to all his classes. And he eventually asked Ramdas, would you please be my teacher? Would you be my spiritual teacher, my guru? And the saint responded, I'm not your guru, Paramhansa Yogananda is. But no, Yogananda is dead. And Ramdas said, Yogananda is not dead, it is you that is dead. And so in this reading, we learn that clarity comes from that direct communion and that aliveness that's within us. Confusion comes from the intellect and from reason. And, there's nothing like when we went to India, we felt Yogananda's aliveness. We felt all the great saints and sages. In our meditations, this aliveness is always available to us. But it's through becoming alive by clearing out the energy centers and any blocks to that intuitive channel that lives within us. And the more we tune in, the more we put dynamic energy into our spiritual practice, through whatever ways we do that, through pilgrimage or joining in Aditya's coming, Nayaswami Aditya, or our meditations, or our way we are with people, whatever that might be, this is how we come alive too. And so Yogananda said, latent within us is a sixth sense, the powerful light of intuition. Intuition gives the soul knowledge of itself, and intuition bestows clear understanding of truth and duty amidst the confusion of the world. So this is a time we're really called, with all the confusion and the divisiveness in the world, that connector of intuition is our superpower. And the more we tune into that divine perception, the more we become divinely guided. That divine voice speaks to us and through us more and more. And that raises our confidence, our faith, our capacity to absorb the spiritual teachings. Yogananda gave us 5 ways to develop intuition and to really tune into that voice of God. And the first, he says, just find that stillness in meditation. We have to go beyond the mind, right? Einstein said, the mind who thought up the problems cannot solve those problems, right? So we have to go beyond the mind and go into that stillness. Don't think about the problem, because what we focus on is what grows. That's the law of attraction. We think about the problem and the problem just grows. We have to go inside with deep calmness formed through meditation, and ever just sit down in meditation and your thoughts are going crazy, and then you just start with the hung saw practice for a while, and it just calms you in such a way that receivership can happen. And so with one pointed concentration at the spiritual eye, we formulate a question. Are you my guru? Is this the best next step for me? And then we listen from our beautiful open hearts. And that is how we develop more and more that intuition. Instead of using that reason and trying to figure things out, to open our hearts and listen, that receiving station, that's when the answer comes to us. So Yogananda said, intuition is soul guidance appearing naturally in us during those instants where the mind is calm. And the goal of yoga science is to calm the mind so that without distortion, we may hear the infallible counsel of the inner voice of God that is within you. And just like Jesus talking to his disciples and talking about, the more spiritually are, the more we're going to rely less on our mind and more on our receivership in our heart. He once asked his disciple, Rajasi Janakananda, he said, what's it like for you? You're a devotee. What's it like at work? You're a dentist. You have to go to all these board meetings, make all these decisions. And Rajasi said, the meeting starts and I just sit back. I calmly just watch my breath. And I listen to them all, and they fight, and they talk, and they argue, and they all back and forth, and I just try to keep my heart open. And after they get tired of arguing, they usually say, well, what do you think? And I let my intuition answer. So he got out of the way, and he let the divine voice within him speak. And his partners at the firm often said, never did they see Rajasi make a bad decision. And, think about that, to step back from that and to detach from any conflict within our own self or within us and another person at work or wherever it is, to step back from that and let our intuition get strong enough that when we're ready to speak, it comes from such a clear, precise, succinct way of coming with that truth, with that answer. And the power is to stay in tune. That's the power of intuition, that all answers will come to us. That's the beautiful faith that we develop through intuition. At our pilgrimage, we went to Puri, a beautiful place where Sri Yukteswar's seaside hermitage is. It's so beautiful. And he would have many, many, many festivals there in the summertime. And one time, this is a great story of a beautiful example of both of their divine attunement, Yogananda and Sri Yukteswar. So Sri Yukteswar asked Yoganandaji to lead a religious procession down from the Puri ashram down into town and then back through the Puri beach, something we all did in our travels to India. And the day arrived, the festival day arrived, and it was so hot. It was one of the hottest summer days, probably over 100. And Yoganandaji's like, what are we going to do? These fiery sands are going to burn up everyone's feet. People are going to be fainting. This isn't going to work. Guruji, help. How can I take these devotees over this fiery sand, he said. And I will tell you a secret, said Sri Yukteswar. The Lord will send you an umbrella of clouds. You shall walk in comfort. So he used that divine perception. He called on God and he listened for that answer, was able to clearly speak it to Yoganandaji. So Yoganandaji, he happily organized the procession. The group started from the ashram. They were holding a banner too of the spiritual eye, the eye of intuition. It was symbolizing the telescopic gaze of intuition. And so no sooner have they left the hermitage than the clouds started, and even a little mist started to rain and overhead, and it was like by magic the whole sky had an umbrella of clouds, and a cooling mist fell in the city streets, and the burning seaside all cooled off with some steam, and the soothing drops descended for exactly the 2 hours of that parade. And the exact instant the group returned to the Puri ashram, the clouds and rain passed and the sun appeared in the sky. And Sri Yukteswar said to Yoganandaji, you see how God feels for us. See how God feels for all of us. The Lord responds to all who work for him. Just as he sent rain at my plea, so he fulfills any sincere desire of the devotee. His children should have implicit faith in the loving kindness of the omnipresent Father. That's what our intuition tells us. We are never alone. We are always divinely guided. We have access to the incredible brilliance of the divine in everything we go through. We just have to tap into that portable paradise of peace, that beautiful channel of truth that lives within us. Yogananda tells us that the human mind, free from the static of restlessness, can perform through the antenna of intuition in amazing, amazing ways. And it's the way that we're all going to end up when we leave this physical body, right? The ego is the soul attached to the body. In the astral world, we're not going to be talking with words. We're going to be tuned into each other in such a dynamic way. It goes beyond all the senses. We use only the sixth sense. So we might as well practice while we're here. Developing intuition is essential for our soul's evolution in preparation for this next lifetime. It brings us closer to God. And in the astral world, when Sri Yukteswar left his body, went into Mahasamadhi, in the resurrection of Sri Yukteswar, the chapter, it says, in the astral spheres, beings navigate through sheer intuition. And by that sheer intuitive feeling, all astral beings see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. They possess 3 eyes, 2 of which are partly closed, and what's one that is wide open, the spiritual eye, the eye of intuition, the telescopic gaze of intuition. And they realize through intuition that indestructibility of love. That's what we understand when we tune into our intuitive knowledge and we see from that eye, that purity, that love is the indestructible. It's the one thing that is always a constant within the world. They possess this unbelievable knowledge from intuition, astral beings, and it pierces through the veil and observes human activity on earth. But we cannot view the astral world until we start developing more and more that sixth sense. So that's what we're called to do today, to develop this sixth sense. And advanced beings remain mostly awake in ecstasy, in that pure sense of deep aliveness. That is it. So it's essential that we develop our intuitive knowledge at this time. We're here, all of us, for this reason, to talk about this today, because it's essential. We are called for higher learning today, to prepare for our next life through our commitment to developing this superpower of intuition. Swami really felt intuitively to come to India, and he was saving up for many, many months. And a few days he was going out to get some essentials for his trip, and his engine threw a rod and his car was broke. And all the money he knew, he needed to get around to do all the teachings and do all the lectures, and he felt like, he reasoned about it, that it wouldn't be responsible if I went to India and spent my money when I would come home and wouldn't be able to get around without a car. So he was really in this kind of conundrum until, he got into that place of sweetness, of stillness. And from the spiritual eye, he asked Divine Mother, I ask for your guidance. Should I stay or should I go? And just opened his heart. And as he moved through the day, he felt called to go, and he found a car for amount of money that he could afford, that he saved up. And when he returned home that day, in the mail was a check for $1,000, exactly how much he needed, with a little note that said, please do whatever Divine Mother wants you to do with this money, right? Who would have known that he asked Divine Mother for that answer? But Divine Mother answered it, and she awakens within each one of us the answers, and that's how we become divine messengers for each other. That's how we start to really show each other what we need to look at within ourselves, to grow our intuition by clearing away the blocks, the egoic blocks that block, that intuitive, that flow of grace, that sweetness that's always there. This is how we grow. And so, a pilgrimage is a beautiful way to develop our intuitive knowledge. And it's because we just, all of us, I think, went with a pure intention and a pure heart to really put all that energy for 2.5 weeks into connecting and being present and being with God and opening up for our receptivity to the divine. We went one day to the Kali temple and just could feel the power of Divine Mother as Kali, her sword of discrimination she has, cutting off the heads of our ego when we get all inflated and ego filled with I'm so amazing feelings, and beliefs, and it's like she cuts it away and cuts it away. She scrubs us until we're clean and pure from our true self. And we were in a long line with prasad, waiting to just go up to a little altar that was there. And there were so many people in line, and you could feel the devotion, the conviction, the desire to know and love God. We were all surrounded, all of us. There was an excitement and energy, all of us knowing how Divine Mother will be there for us whenever we need it. And our faith was so potent. And when we got to the altar, it was like, there was Kali there, this beautiful remover of darkness, this Divine Mother. And it was just so powerful. And as we're in line, it's rare for this to happen, but a thunder and lightning storm and the rain started pouring down. We're getting all soaked, and the thunder of Om was so loud, just pounding. And then after we would go through to the altar, we went and we sat and we meditated underneath the temple. There was an enclosure that we could get out of the rain, and just sitting there in that meditation, the joy of being part of something so powerful, so potent, so amazing, that everybody had such a pure desire to want to know God, surrounded in that. It was just incredible. The words aren't here because it was the energy that is hard to even duplicate. But, it's just Divine Mother's profound love for us was felt in, I know, each one of our hearts. And, for the pilgrimage, I asked for a lot of people. Kyle shared last week she asked for purification. Well, I think she asked for all of us because we all had purification. But I asked for attunement and as my real spiritual intention, right? And I thought about, how it's connected, how through attunement, through really connecting with the divine, that's how intuition really develops, because that voice begins to speak to us more and we become that pure channel for God's grace. And I asked that little I in me that has all these peculiar desires and likes and dislikes to dissipate, that I offer that up to be in the I am. And boy, when I got there for the first 2 days, I had 2 sleepless nights as I watched and looked at all the ways I saw things that were not in the divine perception. I saw, how I reasoned things that was really just using my ego to just kind of make excuses for some of the ways that I saw things or behaved or looked at things in my life. And I really felt like God was helping me to transcend that. At one point, I was like, I just want to go to sleep. And I heard, do you want God or do you want to sleep? And I was like, I want God. And so I just went through these 2 nights of just going through that and was just so powerful and beyond words again. But in the story we said Yogananda is not dead. You're the one that's dead. I felt like I was coming alive. And through that, I felt like I was able to tune into the masters in such a different way. They came alive for me. And that power of truly feeling the essence of each one of the gurus, it was so personal and so connected and yet so expansive and so for all of us. And that aliveness, we went to where Lahiri's ashes were and in this ashram, and the sweetness was just opening and breaking my heart open in that meditation. And we felt the power in the Himalayas of Babaji's power. If we call on Babaji with reverence, he will answer that. Intuitively call on him, say, Babaji, I need you to help me with this situation. Babaji, come help me. And in your heart, you will feel the power and the answer come to you. And that in how he can free us from these likes and dislikes, these ways of like, I like when the bus goes nice and smooth and not up and down hills and over crazy, and beep, 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 beep. It's like there was so much noise and so much commotion and so much chaos. It forced us to go into that inner paradise of peace, that inner beautiful channel that is always available to us. It just etched into us this new way of being, regardless of what's happening in the outer world. Our ego loves that conflict. Our true self loves to be in that peace, in that knowing. When I went to Tulsi Bose, I felt Master's loving friendship, like my best buddy. Like no matter what, I have a beloved best friend that will walk with me every step of the way, hold my hand, and love me with unconditional acceptance. And that power that he has within us to free us from the ego and bring us into that self-realization. And remember, I shared with you, maybe you don't, but I remembered sharing a few times ago, Yogananda's saying, and it always stuck with me throughout our pilgrimage. I remember the day when for the first time, behind the clouds of drudgery, of routine, meditating habits, the aurora of bliss suddenly burst into my consciousness. It surprised and all my expectations. It was joy indescribable. Each one of us had that experience in some way where our meditation just became so expansive, so filled that we understood that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, that everything up until this point made sense because of what we chose. And I know we all had that experience from each one of you tuning into that. And when I returned home, I prayed, please help me to keep this alive. Help me to keep living in pilgrimage. We don't have to go to India. We don't have to go to Italy. We don't have to go to Jerusalem. We can always live in an inner pilgrimage, finding that inner attunement with the divine. And, I tuned in and I realized she was with me throughout India, Nayaswami Maria, and she went through a really difficult time of suffering with cancer. And I mean, India was not an easy place. You had to really let go of a lot of comforts to be there. It was difficult seeing people that were struggling so much and all the poverty and the dirt and the noise and the chaos and moving so much and traveling so much. It was difficult. There was a lot of suffering that happened through that. And I remember seeing at Mother Teresa's house, she said, all suffering is a kiss from Jesus. And I remembered her saying in the book, A Man's Search for Meaning, and the author said, Viktor Frankl said, it's through suffering that we really find meaning in our life. And I think all of us transcended the discomforts of our physical body and rose above what our thinking minds. I want to get, this is a 20-minute line, an hour line, the physical. It's like, no, we transcended that. No, I'm here. I am spirit. I am Iswara. I am light. And so I tuned into Nayaswami Maria, and she had 3 guiding principles that kept her alive in a time of deep darkness. The first one is so easy: detach. And as we continue our pilgrimage, those who went, and all of us that are on a spiritual pilgrimage, a life that's awake in God, to our attachments bind us to ego. I want it this way. This needs to look this way. The second thing is live the teachings. Always return to love, serve, and meditate deeply. The essence of self-realization. Yogananda has an answer for a stomach ache. He has an answer for anxiety. He has an answer for everything. His teachings are all inclusive and so expansive. And control the reactive process. And during difficult times, to not try to control because you're feeling out of control, but to live in that sense of of responding inwardly to anything that is blocking us, any of our likes and dislikes that go with that emotion that try to disconnect us, and we get that fire comes up. And just remember that rain that could trickle down on all of us, and rain, not, it's nice to rain on a parade when you're in India, but so just with these parting thoughts that we are all here to grow. We're all on our own unique inner pilgrimage, and pilgrimage in every moment. Taking a seclusion day, a day of a deeper, maybe a 2 or 3 hour meditation in a day, coming to some of the programs here, you know, and I've decided to continue to live as a pilgrim, seeking the presence of God all around me. So may all of our pilgrimage and this beautiful life pilgrimage be alive with wonderment and with adventure and with a sense of deep knowing that God never leaves our side.
Now we'll have our offertory prayer. Please take what you would like to give, place it in your right hand, and repeat after me. Divine Mother, we offer to thee the fruit of our labors. Bless this offering, that it serve as a channel of thy light to truth-seeking souls everywhere. Peace. Amen.
Home is a green